While on the hunt for a multi-speed internally geared hub, I found a new bicycle brand, Priority Bicycles. Priority believes that a bike should be well engineered from the start, and that it should be low maintenance and offer higher end features at a lower cost. They specialize in cruiser and commuter bikes, but the thing that got my attention was that all of their bikes feature an internally geared hub and a belt drive system. My discovery of Priority is because of their Classic Plus bike, which is supposed to be a better bike than the IKEA Sladda, which up to this point has been my only internally geared bike. As nice as the Classic Plus seems to be, it's another bike in their lineup that caught my eye. And that's their top end model, the Continuum. And this year they have a Continuum Onyx Edition. Along with the Gates belt drive, the Continuum Onyx features another unique drive system component, and that's the NuVinci CVT rear hub. On top of the rear hub, you also get a Dynamo front hub, and hydraulic disc brakes and a complement of other features right out of a commuter's wish list for a dream bike. As good as the Onyx looked, I was a little bit hesitant. I've never heard of Priority Bicycles, and they are a direct sales model company, so that means there are no bike shops you can go into and look at their bikes. Plus, they're asking $1,000. That's a big leap of faith. But I took that leap anyway, though it wasn't completely ungrounded because I had contacted them and spoken for 2 weeks before I decided to make the purchase. It took me 2 weeks to make my decision, but only 3 days for the bike to arrive, and it arrived in perfect condition. And that's a good thing because one of the ways I rate a bike company is how well they package their products, and in this area Priority gets an A+. The bike is not only sufficiently protected, but Priority was able to fit in the optional rear rack without doing any damage to anything else. First hurdle over. And with everything out of the box, the bike looks great. This is my first look at the Continuum Onyx, and I gotta say, doesn't look bad thus far. Now let's make sure they gave me everything I need to get the bike assembled. Look past that backpack, you'll see that in an upcoming video. But in the accessory box is everything else I need to get the bike going, like the front disc brake rotor, the pedals, and so on. There's also curiously a bottle of touch-up paint. This is a first. I've never had this on any bike I've ever purchased, but it is appreciated. I like to keep my stuff looking nice, and that's going to help out. One important note, and that's that while you do get everything you need to get the bike roadworthy, assembly does require a small bit of mechanical knowledge. If you've never installed a disc brake rotor and caliper, or if the idea of joining wires that connect the Dynamo Hub is intimidating, you may want to take the bike down to your local bike shop or to a bike mechanic to have it assembled. Again, assembly isn't difficult, and Priority has instructions and tutorial videos, but you want to be safe, and you want to protect your investment. Personally, I take every bike I assemble down to the local bike shop for a once-over and safety check. It's better to be safe than sorry. And by the way, while at the local bike shop, everyone there wanted to have a ride on the Continuum Onyx, and to this day it's the first thing they ask about when I walk into the shop. I think they may be impressed. That's because it is an impressive bike, both in looks and quality. This is the first bike I've seen that makes fenders look good, and that's because they mostly disappear into the black of the frame and wheels. Component-wise, you get a good lot. The bars are commuter friendly at about 635mm, and the grips are high density silicone with a minimalist look and a good feel. And this may be the first twist shifter I've ever liked. I'll get into more on that in a minute, but it is unique. The headset is threadless and the stem is a little bit on the long side. It's constructed of a lightweight alloy. The head tube is tapered and it's marked with a reflective Priority logo. Mounted in front of the head tube and just above the fender is a Priority branded 3 LED headlight. The wires for the headlight internally route through the front fork and connect to the front Dynamo Hub. The bike features WTB Slick Series 700x32C tires on black alloy wheels, and stopping those wheels are Tektro Hydraulic disc brakes on both the front and the rear, with 160mm rotors. The aluminum alloy frame on the Continuum Onyx has an almost vintage look with its roundish tubes, and the matte black paint is well applied and looks really good. The minimalist branding also kind of sets the bike apart. And this is one of the only bikes I've seen in modern times that didn't have any branding on the down tube. The seat post is long enough to accommodate riders within the selected frame size, and the saddle blends perfectly and seems to be well made. The pedals are polymer with internal bearings, and those connect to a Gates crank arm, and that crank arm makes up part of the Gates carbon drive system. And that's one of the key selling points of this bike, and it makes for some interesting design elements, like the removable block on the seat stay for belt changes. Speaking of which, belt changes and adjustments use an app to properly gauge belt tension. How cool is that? And when it comes to key features, the master key would have to be the NuVinci CVT Hub. And this hub is a NuVinci N330. And shielding you from all these hubs and working parts are polymer fenders on both the front and the rear. And both of these fenders feature rubber mud flaps to keep splashing to a minimal. On the rear fender is a red Priority branded LED taillight that is powered by the front Dynamo Hub. All this makes for a great commuter bike, at least on paper. The reality is that the bike exceeds the sum of its parts, and that's where the engineering and planning come in. In my conversations with the Priority team, they mentioned how many revisions they had went through before arriving at this point with the Continuum. I forgot the number, but they did their work, and the end result equals a rewarding ride experience for the buyer. The ride on a Continuum Onyx is utilitarian with a dose of fun. It's a commuter bike, so it's important that it be reliable and efficient. And those goals are right on target with the help of the drive belt and the NuVinci CVT. Leading up to this video, I rode the Continuum Onyx for 10 days as both a commuter and a joyride bike. And the first thing I noticed is that NuVinci CVT. The shifting is smooth and easy with no discernible clicking or gear changes. It's all smooth and easy twists. I have fun on any bike that I ride, this one included. But if asked, my first response as to how this rides wouldn't be fun. My first response would be efficient. And that's due to the way the NuVinci CVT works. CVT equals continuously variable transmission. In layman terms, there are no set gears, only a gear range. And in that range you have unlimited selection. Because of this, I notice less fatigue as I pedal. And that's because I'm always in the perfect gear. I'm never caught unaware by new terrain or caught searching for the perfect gear. On some bikes, it feels like I'm always one gear away from optimal. Not on the Continuum and not with the NuVinci. That's not to say there isn't a learning curve with the NuVinci shifter, as it's an entirely new concept, at least to me. Rather than gear numbers, there's a pictograph. It's an image of a guy on a bike, and you adjust him to the desired terrain by twisting. This changes your gear ratios, but for some reason my mind worked backwards to how the gearing relates to the pictograph. I see flat ground and think low gear and easy pedaling. A hill to me means hard pedaling. That's exactly opposite of how the shifter interprets gearing, and it took almost 2 days, but my mind finally clicked, and now I'm always in the proper gear, and that means 100% efficiency, which means less wasted pedaling, which also means that I can go further with the same amount of energy. The efficiency is further optimized by the Gates drive belt. It's smooth and noise-free. And because there's no grease involved, you can bike commute in pants without worry of grease spots. Weather's also a non-issue, because there's no oil or chain to worry with, so you don't have to worry about lubrication if you ride in the rain. My opinion with the Continuum Onyx is that it gives you a well-optimized commuter experience that just happens to be fun. Now the bike is tough, but there are limits to how I ride it. I have other bikes that I ride that I may hop curbs with or ride down steps without ever even thinking about it. Wouldn't do any of that on the Continuum Onyx. It's best used for a point A to B bike on smoother surfaces. I mentioned that Priority put a lot of thought into the design of this bike, and that includes making it a safe bike to commute on, or at least as safe as possible. Because there are a lot of drivers out there that look right past a bike, especially a black one. And that's why they added the Dynamo Hub and Lights. The hub powers a flashing front LED that's acceptably bright, and it also flashes a rear LED taillight that looks much brighter than this in person. They also added a few things to help those of us that end up commuting at night out, like choosing tires with reflective sidewalls. They also added Priority branding that's reflective. Light makes the head tube, top tube, and chainstay graphics shine at night. As happy as I am with this bike, it wouldn't be a balanced review if I didn't mention areas that I think could be improved. First and most prominent is the chainstay. Due to the width of that NuVinci hub, things get wide in the back, and the chainstay is a straight tube from the bottom bracket to the hub. And that can lead to anything but perfect foot to pedal placement, resulting in a heel rubbing the chainstay. and it rubs right at the Priority branding. So I can only imagine that over time this would result in marred paint and possibly the graphic rubbing away. A curved chainstay would eliminate this and possibly even add strength to the frame. Next is the Dynamo Hub and those lights. The hub powers the lights, and there's also a capacitor built in to store enough energy that keeps the lights functioning at a stop. The only problem is there's no way to turn off the capacitor. So roommates, be warned. This bike could continue to function light-wise for up to 5 minutes after you're done riding. This one's a bit nitpicky, but the bike is a beautiful combination of black and subdued grays, so that makes the choice of chrome fender supports a curiosity. My evaluation is that Priority Bicycles has made the Continuum Onyx a bike well worth the money if you're looking for a serious commuter. The components alone are worth more than the $9.99 they're asking for it. Let me say that I contacted Priority myself, and I paid for this bike with my money, and the purchase was based more on curiosity than need. But even curiosity can have rewards, and in this case the reward is that I have a new benchmark for what a good commuter bike should be. And as far as Priority Bicycles as a company, I'm impressed. Not only do they have a good product, but they seem like a great group of people, and they're very giving, and that gets me to the next thing. I'm going to show a couple of things here. This bike rack and this messenger backpack, both from Priority. I'll be putting these on in an upcoming video. This backpack I especially look forward to. This is 174 Hudson, which is our 174 Hudson. Their address, but also their custom brand. Priority was nice enough to also send something for you guys. So how does Priority Bicycles mail things? Well, Priority Mail, of course. And via Priority Mail, they sent 2 water bottles that I'll be giving away, as well as 3 shirts. There's the base dark gray or almost black Priority shirt. There's a Find the Coast shirt made by Aloha Beach that's also Priority branded, I believe, and a Priority Bicycles gray circular shirt. I'm currently putting the finishing touches on the KevCentral.com website that will allow you to get more information on the bikes you see in these videos, get more involved, and also potentially end up with some cool swag like this stuff from our friends at PriorityBicycles.com. Be sure to give their website a visit. If you're like me, you may like what you see. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and stay tuned.